Hey, how you been out there? Welcome to another edition of Top 10 Worst Things of All Time. I'm your host for this evening's endeavor, Graham Crackers and Graham Crackers, secret agent. The top 10 worst of lists are meticulously designed by a team of clog dancing somnambulists who gather together crack houses across North America and come up with these lists as part of a court mandated community service, and therefore like this stuff is totally unreliable. Should not be thought of by any rational person as being valid objective truth. But before we get onto today's list, I would like to, I've got a few contractually obligated non-disclosure agreement stuff that I need to pronunciate. Number one, I'm 100% cuckoo for coconuts, okay? So any of the stuff that you hear, I can't be trusted or relied upon. I am literally 23 cans short of a 24 pack. Number two, I'm not partisan. I'm not coming to you from any particular, I have no affinity for any of the games that they're playing with us, trying to divide and conquer us. Certainly, I'm totally not down with any of the hate mongers or their ilk, but it's real difficult to be part of the alt-left now, seeing as how intolerant they become with, all the nitpicking censorship things that they're looking to try to force feed us, and the cancel culture. I mean, it just seems almost as intolerant as the right sometimes. And, there are clear divisions between good and evil in this world, but those are primarily, between the haves and the have-nots. And the haves are wicked, and they're playing games against us to try to create divisions so that we're fighting amongst ourselves, and they get off scot-free. In the meantime, their wealth has increased 88% in just the last 4 years, and we're sitting here where they've consolidated more wealth today than ever. And on top of it, we owe them, because of the national debt of the United States, we still owe them $41 trillion. And we have to pay, the debt service on that is over $1 trillion every year. So each year that we don't pay off the principal, we owe them another trillion or plus. So they're already snarfing up everything in sight. And we're all sitting there pointing the finger at each other like, it's your fault, it's your fault, it's your fault, it's your fault, it's their fault. You know what I mean? And so, it's easy for people on both sides to point fingers because that's what the scripting has, manipulated us into, honestly believing. But it's all a series of manipulations from godforsaken monsters. Okay? Good. I'm trying to create a movement where we all love each other and everything is beautiful, and we all feel like a really deep and abiding sense of togetherness, a compulsion to be as one. Until we get there, y'all are in my sights. I'm watching all yous. And of course, obviously, I'm not, supporting the frickin' hate mongers and the violent people and the people who can't live by the golden rule. I am the golden rule guy, okay? Do unto others as you have them do unto you. Period. End of story. What was that? Was that the first 48 hours or another 48 hours where Gans, you're over. End of story. Good stuff. All right, so today's top 10 worst things of all time is top 10 media invented / distributed phrases designed to demotivate us. This is a very important top 10 worst of list that I got today. Why? Because it's easy enough to try to figure out even the dullards and the simpletons and the deniers and the flat earthers. Anybody can figure out some of the basic tricks that they use to demotivate us, demoralize us, dehumanize us, devalue us. What's some other D words I come up with? Big D words. Big D, big D, big D, big... Woo. My neighbors are going to wonder what the hell I'm talking about. All right, so anyway, we got collectively, on average, a 5th grade reading level and stuff, intelligence level. They've got a show out there, Are You Smarter Than a 5th Grader? That's actually a TV series. So nobody's winning any prizes in today's society for intelligence. All right, that's why I'm here. I'm here to do the thinking for you. So, you know what this list is about? It's supposed to focus on another form of mind control that is, I mean, they do things like, have you ever noticed things like when the Las Vegas shooter killed all those people that it was, I think it was a Sunday, and then the next Monday they're making all these reports. Did you ever notice that all of the news outlets were reporting that it was the worst mass shooting in modern American history? They always, all of them, all the outlets used modern American history. Did you ever notice? I mean, why is that? What was there, did I miss like a mass shooting in like non-modern American history? Was there like a mass shooting back in the colonial days? Like some guy propped himself on a clock tower, with the muskets and stuff like that? I'm not so sure that a mass shooting, it would have taken them like a month and a half to do a mass shooting with the muskets and stuff like that. So why did they call it the worst shooting in modern American history? What did they mean by modern? In the last couple of days? It's just so stupid, but they all of them used that specific phrasing in reference to that tragedy. And then, you have another one where it was like, you got, right before the war in Ukraine started, all of a sudden, all at the same time, like they all were tied in, they got the same memo all at the same time, where they stopped referring to the capital of Ukraine as Kiev and started calling it Kyiv. And it was just everybody was doing all of a sudden, just bingo. And right before the invasion, the Russian invasion started to commence that war. It's almost like they're getting their memos, they're getting their scripts from the same sources. And there's lots of other examples of that where, the only people that have enough distribution to be able to start trends in language and lingo when we start converting all of our colloquialisms into something new. The only people that have any access to mainstream levels of distribution are the ruling elite, the power elite, the people with the green light power. over who gets to do what and everything like that, who gets to say what, it's always been that way. The only time in all of history when actual progressives had the ability to be able to do their own distribution, in other words, actual green light power, and final cut or something like that, was the brief time when Chaplin, Mary Pickford, and Douglas Fairbanks created United Artists, and they had their own distribution arm and their own production facility, so they were able to call their own shots. In all of human history, and you saw like little glimpses and stuff like that in the mid 50s to the late 60s, early 70s, where a few musicians snuck through the cracks, but they killed them all off or ruined their lives and careers or their creative vitality in pretty short order. And then replaced all of like the charismatic people like Dylan and the Byrds and Lorraine Hansberry with a bunch of infantile garbage, Foghat, Melanie, Rush, even. Rush is great, don't get me wrong. I've seen them in concert a bunch of times. They're good, better in concert than they are in record. But what's the stupid nonsense? Anne Rand, whatever, influenced malarkey that the professor, Neil Peart, has been pushing on everybody. I mean, just the stupidest stuff. This is the war. He gets high on you, so on and so, blah blah blah. I mean, it's just highfalutin nonsense. It doesn't have anything to do with our real lives or rebelling against the system or seeking equity in the world for all people. It's just this mumbo jumbo, and great music, but I mean, it's just this whole thing. It's and what's with the devil worshipping stuff? I mean, you look out in the world today and you see how much evil has been unleashed on humanity, and how demented. I was talking about this on the previous edition of Top 10 Worst Lists. How 1 out of 4 girls and 1 out of 6 boys are sexually molested in incest in our country, and 1 out of, I think it's 5, maybe 4 women are victims to sexual harassment. These are not good signs of a healthy society, and everybody's lashing out about Epstein and stuff like that, and so on and so forth. But it's like the rank and file citizens and residents of this country who are, like horrible. And we got to do better. And, but the bad things in the world obviously have dominated for so long that people are becoming demented, and we've lived in this basically everything in our society has been compromised by pathogens, these creatures who are movies are more or less indoctrinational devices to get us to they glamorize violence and bury sort of racism on subliminal levels, and they have tried to become us inured to gore and graphic sex and violence and stuff would make us just like completely dulled down to the point where it becomes more attractive for us to, we see drug dealers and we see movies depicting high school kids getting blackout drunk, and it makes it look like it's fun and entertaining and a rite of passage and all that kind of stuff. They've put their hooks into us and dragged us down into such a pit of despair and God damn Jesus, just a horrifying world that they've created for us and immersed us in, where, I mean, movies are like almost like recruitment tools for drug dealers and CIA hit squad people, making this movie like the Bullet Train or something, where they've got, they make out serial murders and Yakuza members as honorable, fun-loving, cool people, and they completely leave out the whole idea that they're all psychotic assassins and sociopaths and looking to kill people for a living and whatnot. And Brad Pitt's bouncing around, and they call him Butterfly or Ladybug or something like that. And then they got the guy from Kick-Ass and his mass murder partner, assassin, is into Thomas the Tank Engine all the time, and so they're kind of like making him sort of almost cuddly and sweet, and this guy's a sociopath, a murderer, and then they have, I mean, it's just what, and what is that? And this Martin Scorsese guy that everybody thinks is such a great, that guy can suck an egg. I'm telling you. Martin Scorsese is a big, huge, fat, racist prick who thinks, he's such, a tremendous gift to the cultural apparatus. Here's a guy who nonstop glorification of violence, normalizing crime, making it all seem cool and slick and hip. And he does this movie called one of the few movies that isn't directly trying to glorify violence, is glorifying other types of maniacs, and Raging Bull. And Raging Bull, as far as I'm concerned, is one of the biggest racist movies since D.W. Griffith's A League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. What was that movie his? With all the Ku Klux Klan members falling all over the place and whatnot. But anyway, Raging Bull goes on and on and on about all this garbage about these freaking violent, brainless morons, and making it look like these people deserve to have a movie made about them. Why don't you make a movie about a really brave teacher who goes into a rough neighborhood and buys all the school supplies and everything like that for their kids out of their own pocket, and goes there every day under all kinds of threatening and immersively rough conditions, and faces it all down, just goes through it and teaches these kids to be better, stronger, intellectually self-sufficient people against horrible odds. You should make some movies about like that, Martin Scorsese, instead of glorifying a frickin' wife-beating maniac with your frickin' movies that suck. And everybody thinks that you're such a great guy. Well, I know the real reason that you made Raging Bull, and it's not because of trying to glorify the violence. That was just gravy on top of the main course, which was racism. And here's a guy, Martin Scorsese. I can't think of a single goddamn movie that he's had a single person of color being a major character in. Is there? I don't know. There's Goodfellas, sucks. No non-white people in it. Wolf of Wall Street. Is there a non-white person in that movie? It's just a gigantic movie with millions of people in it, all white. Is there? I don't know. He did that movie about the oil and stuff like that recently. That with was it Leonardo DiCaprio and stuff, Native American. So it was the first time ever. First time ever. And then he's got Casino. No black people in that one. Mean Streets. No black people in that one. No people of color at all. And what else is that jerk of Taxi Driver? No people of color in that one. On and on and on. Well, Raging Bull, they got a person of color in that one. It's the guy who portrays Sugar Ray Robinson, who's the greatest boxer of all time, who beat Raging Bull guy 4 out of 5 times real badly. And there's no movie about Sugar Ray Robinson, the greatest boxer of all time, pound for pound, at all. And you look at the character that they got to play, you really know, it becomes really transparent that the whole goal of this movie, because you could see the intense relish that Scorsese takes on featuring this guy. The actor that they got to portray Sugar Ray Robinson is just pure evil looking. You look at the face of this guy. Ray Robinson was like if you look at him, he's like always got a smile on his face. Seems like a really charming guy. And when he was out of boxing, he did like some other entertainment stuff to get by and whatnot. And we don't have a movie about him, about a guy who was the greatest. The only reason why people don't know how great Ray Robinson was is because they don't have a lot of film on him. It was all kind of dumped. Gee, I wonder why. But the guy that they got to looks like the devil, and they make him out to be a villainous character in the movie just because he dared, beat Raging Bull's ass. Raging Bull was a jagoff. He did not deserve to have a movie made about him, glorifying him or anything that he was about. Even a cautionary tale about the guy. If you got a decision with a bunch of money to make a movie, and you decide to make a movie about Raging Bull instead of making a movie about Sugar Ray Robinson, then you're part of the problem. You're a sicko maniac just like the rest of the ruling elite are. And go ahead and try to figure out for yourself. I don't know where it's at, except for that one recent movie that he did. Any person of color that's ever been in a Martin Scorsese movie. And the reason why I say that Raging Bull is only about giving Martin Scorsese an opportunity to portray a black person as the devil is just the fiendish look in Sugar Ray's face and eyes. And they don't have him say anything. They don't have him. He just comes in. He shows up. He looks like the frickin' devil. He beats the hell out of this white, great power guy, wife-beating maniac. And they make him look like that. That's like the peak of the movie. And they have that big scene where the blood splattering all over the place. He reveals it all right there. Martin Scorsese, a big, huge, fat, freaking closet racist. And we need to stop. We need to end the glorification of these people and call them out for what they really are. Martin Scorsese doesn't deserve to be deified and worshipped like, God's gift to movie making. He's a freaking monster. And same thing really kind of with Francis Ford Coppola. I mean, the 1970s, when the CIA takes over the drug distribution cartels away from the mob, and they start to do all the distribution right around the time of the Vietnam War. They're out there looking to try and recruit and develop people to help participate in the distribution of drugs and criminality, and fight all these conflicts with all these the doped out users and addicts that they're creating throughout American society. But you can't. It's not like they've got a job board or something like that for criminals and drug dealers and such. So they have to come up with people to influence them so that they're available to be recruited to do this type of stuff. And what's the best way to do that? Make them look like God damn it! Make them look like heroes, and make them look like their lives are alluring. And some ball-busting, bravado, raging bull type would want to actually do that type of stuff and see that there's opportunities in that to look like a badass. As you get the shrimp wiener that they're trying to reconcile themselves with, and they have nothing better to do with their lives, and the world around them sucks, and there's no positive things to be able to do with their life, and you've been abandoned by the education system, and compromised by the political system, and degraded by the virtue of the inequities of the economic system. So you're falling between the cracks, and here's movies like The Godfather that glorify criminal behavior, criminal mindset, make them look like devious, frickin' slick, cool-ass Michael Corleone jerk-offs. And you see that stuff on the screen, you're like, oh, wow, I wish I could do that for a living. And that's how they recruit. That's how they make it's the same way that Catholic priests recruit more Catholic priests. That's why they do so much, child molesting. That's the only way that you can get more Catholic priests, is by ruining the lives of children so that they become damaged goods, and then they just carry on the tradition. But that's not going to work to recruit a bunch of murderous sociopaths to do the distribution of drugs and criminality that the CIA needed in order to be able to, become a full-time global leader in drug cartels. And you go with, what about Apocalypse Now? Apocalypse Now? You telling me Apocalypse Now is something that I should respect Francis Ford Coppola over? Well, okay, let's talk about that one. Apocalypse Now. Mr. Apocalypse Now is so smart all of a sudden, saying like, oh yeah, well maybe you're right about Godfather and Godfather 2. Maybe they do glamorize criminality. Maybe it does make it look kind of cool. And a lot of people were probably drawn to that type of thing after they saw the movies. Well, okay, what about Apocalypse Now? I'll tell you about it. Sure. I mean, when you're watching the beginning, I don't know, 3/4 of that movie, for the most part, you're like going like, well, there's so many examples of kind of despicable, symbolically anti-militaristic types of messages that you pick up on and whatnot. And he's floating down the river, and he goes, I can't believe this Colonel Kurtz guy, that the army is like all pissed off about him. He seems like he's like super competent and stuff like that, and doing all kinds of stuff. Excuse me. And then he has a psychological break, and then he starts to form his own, army of Cambodian mountain people or something, and the army wants him killed off. Okay, so and the way it's all sort of approached, they're showing a lot of stuff that makes the Vietnam War look stupid. Boy, wow. What an effort that must have taken for them to figure out a way to make the Vietnam War look stupid. That wasn't a low-hanging fruit, now was it? But here's the problem. At the end of the movie, when he finally makes it to Colonel Kurtz's camp, and they find out what's going on, it's not a revolutionary army that's fighting against the Americans to try to, make some sense or defend themselves against the irrational behavior of the American military, and defend themselves and their families, and fight against the irrational bloodletting that the American army was imposing upon those countries, which, Laos and Cambodia, who never had a declaration of war, never should have been fighting against them in the first place. But it has nothing to do with that. When he finds Colonel Kurtz's community, at the end of this whole huge quest, it's everything that the army said it was. It's a psychotic guy, murderous guy. Colonel Kurtz is nuts. He's off his nutter. And he's killing people and hanging people from trees, naked, dead for no reason at all, stinking up the place. He's got a bunch of people in cages, like these really demeaning and abusive cages and whatnot. And he's got people running all around, all over the place, not doing anything. Loyal to him, sure, but what are they doing? They're just killing off tribesmen on the whims of somebody who's clearly mad. And it turns out that at the end of the quest, the army was right about the guy. This is not anti-Vietnam. This is pro-army. It's just we're too dumb to be able to figure out the message that they're sending. And at the end, the guy who's reading the dossier the whole time, Martin Sheen character guy, winds up doing what the army asked him to do and killing, assassinating the guy. And, everybody who's watching the movie are like, yeah, I mean, that's what he should have been doing. Killing off this madman who's murdering people indiscriminately and just sitting around having this nutty old time in this, commune of nuttiness. There's no rationality. There's no anti-American statement that they're making with Apocalypse Now. It's all pro-military. Again, at the end of the deal, all the stuff that he's, saying that the military was out of line, and all the lunch that they have with the roast beef and stuff where they all seem nuts, the military was all justified. And the guy, the Martin Sheen guy, goes through with it, kills the guy off. Now, if you wanted a real anti-war movie, at the end of the thing, you'd find Colonel Kurtz is totally in control of his faculties. He makes rational arguments about the injustice of the American incursion into not just Vietnam, but into Laos and Cambodia without declaring war. And he could say, I put together this army, this peasant army, that we're going to fight against the, bombing of civilian populations with Agent Orange, and with napalm and women and children getting slaughtered and so on and so forth. But you don't get any of that. You don't get any of that. You just get sort of trace amount. You get wasted death of all these people going on this, what you think is a stupid mission. But at the end, it turns out to be the army putting them on a worthy mission. Getting rid of this guy who turns out to be psychotic. So all these sort of complaints that when he's reading the dossier that he sees that Colonel Kurtz is bringing up in his letters that he's filing with the military and his supervisors and stuff, are saying that, there's this one scandal where supposedly that this was the crime that they supposedly were having him executed for was because he went ahead and executed accused spies, without proper military tribunal or something, or without permission from his higher-ups. And turns out that he was right, that the people Kurtz had executed, after they were executed, the counterinsurgency attacks and everything stopped in his sector, so on and so forth. So they have a lot of that stuff that he filed, but when they finally get to Kurtz, he is nuts. He's a madman. And he does need to be taken out of command. And that's what he does. So it is a standard pro-army movie. Ultimately. And all these guys who we think that were getting knocked off one by one, was it Lawrence Fishburne? This is the guy that he gets killed, and the guy with the big mustache, the Louisiana chef, he gets killed, and everybody gets killed one by one. And as we're seeing it transpire during the movie, and the lead up to that makes us think, geez, here's another waste of good young people who will get caught up in this invalid war that never really needed to happen. But then at the end, you find out that the mission was worthy. They get rid of Colonel Kurtz. Colonel Kurtz was indiscriminately murdering, the native peoples in that area, stringing them up like some kind of, obviously, like some freaking madman. So all of those lives that as we saw them, Lawrence Fishburne getting killed, we thought, man, that's a great symbolic gesture of, in cinema, anti-war sort of metaphor. That's, and we're so also smart and intellectually driven that we can figure all this out because it's a metaphor. And we see that everything's perfect because I could figure that out because I went to college. Oh, Jesus, freaking Christ. I went to college and people were still looking, so I get it. I get it. And that's because I have a superior intellect. I can relate to that thing and everything. It's nuts. And sure, you get, like napalm in the morning, blah, blah, blah. But none of that matters in terms of like the big overarching character arcs in the story. Because, the nutty surfing scene is, over the top and whatever, and he's nuts. But it's not like he's depicted as an evil person. They say it in the movie that, you kind of felt safe around him. So it's just like, he calls in, napalming the tree line and stuff like that. But it's not like he's napalming a village, right? And they show people suffering and they show the heartlessness of it, sure, and everything like that. But that only works. That only ties together a thematic, actual depiction of anti-war sentiment if at the end of the movie all of this turned out to be exemplifying the hierarchy of the army being sadistic brutes who were doing things on an ongoing basis that were all just murderous in nature or exploitative or just completely without reason or cause. Well, getting rid of Colonel Kurtz, he was murdering the indigenous people of Cambodia, so there was cause to take him out. Now, they could have just brought him to justice, something like that, but this is a guy who actually committed tons of murders and acting like a freaking nut job. Gardenias. Curtsy still clicks. The guy was off his rocker. So any of that stuff, there is no anti-Vietnam War sentiment in Apocalypse Now. We've misunderstood it. But our subconscious is registering what's going on. We all know that Colonel Kurtz is nuts. We all know that the guy winds up completing his mission. And that we all, whether we put it together, I don't think we are intelligent enough to put it together or aware enough to put it together that the movie is pro-army. Ultimately, there's a lot of things, along the lines of the craziness of the having the USO show. But having a USO show, while it is nuts in the context in which they put it, entertaining the troops is important. Because those guys get burnt out and they feel abandoned and on their own alone and stuff like that. And those USO shows, they do it in such a way, they present it that's completely, crazy. And then they have the end of the line with that one bridge and the scene with the guy who's gone completely nuts, and he hears the one Vietnamese or Cambodian soldier screaming in the distance about how America sucks and you're going to kill everybody and so on. And then the guy is just zoned out. He's completely lost it. But he fires, like a mortar, and you hear it hit, and the guy who's screaming at the troops stops screaming. How is that anti-army? And the guy is like, even in, shell-shocked as he was still able to hit a guy out in the middle of nowhere who's screaming with one mortar shot. It's Apocalypse Now is pro-army, pro-death, pro-war, pro-exploitation of resources and expendable human beings, just like all the others are. And they taught us that brown people are expendable and white people are heroic, and just reinforce the whole idea that mass murder is nothing, and all these people who get killed, are just props, and their lives are worthless, and the lives of the people that love them are worthless, and we deserve to kill as many people as we want because we're white and they're brown, and screw them. And that's what movies have been doing to us since the beginning of movies. And glorifying people for having done this to us, everything like that, and giving them awards and patting them on the back and saying, good job, Francis Ford, and good job, Martin Scorsese, is, just giving them extra sort of encouragement to be sociopaths. And until we start to figure some of these things out, we're doomed. There's nothing worth saving here. There's nothing worth, you go out and march around and say like that, we're marching for the right to have more Martin Scorsese movies to watch. Or we're marching for the right to, to watch more white power, suburbanite, whitewashing ethos spread all over the place by Steven Spielberg. Or watching Peter Jackson do more of his white power exaltations. There's all these guys, choosing specific time periods and subject matters to make sure that it makes sense for everybody in the movie to be white. For the people who are going out to see these movies, it doesn't even jump out to them. They don't even think about the idea that there aren't any black people in this, because black people wouldn't be in a like a period piece regarding Italian Americans and the mob and stuff like that. It just second nature. It just doesn't make any doesn't call attention to itself that there aren't any black people on any of the Godfather movies, because you wouldn't expect black people to be in the Godfather movies because it's all about Italian Americans. But they choose those topics intentionally so that they don't have to work with black people. That's what I'm saying. That's the level of racism that we're talking about with these people. And until we figure all that stuff out, we're stuck. We're the victims. And that's what this the top 10 worst of list is supposed to be all about, because it's not just, racism isn't simple. It's not straightforward like we want it to be, where it's easy to distinguish and identify so we can protect ourselves from it. They sneak it in. And one of the things that this is what this particular top 10 topic is about, phrases designed to demotivate us, like the worst shooting in modern American history, or calling Kiev all of a sudden out of nowhere, because that's just the tiniest little tip of the iceberg. Because these are people who are in control of everything that we see, read, hear, touch, listen to, been informed by forever. And so they got these things in our language. They actually have it superimposed into our language, these demotivational things that are cryptic that we don't even realize the level of subliminal social engineering that they're doing to us through our language, right? Oh, let me give you the first one so that you can start to see what I'm talking about. Number 10, slow and steady wins the race. Now, this is a colloquialism, idiomatic phrase, whatever you want to call it, that everybody knows. Everybody's heard before. Anybody who's got any kind of been around for a while type of thing, or whatever. Everybody's heard of the slow and steady wins the race. Well, first of all, just on the surface of it, what race are you watching where slow and steady wins it? Right? Is it some kind of newfangled race where people who finish in the middle towards the end of the pack win somehow? Is it the era of participation trophies where everybody wins no matter what in some kind of race? Is this some sort of justification? Because it feels like the phrase slow and steady wins the race has been around a lot longer than participation trophies have been, and the whole participation trophy ideology and whatnot. Slow and steady wins the race is trying to demotivate you to underachieve with your life. And this is what I'm talking about, how they get into your head without you even knowing it. Slow and steady wins the race when you hear, and there's tons and tons of phrases that have the same type of effect, and we'll go through just a few of them as part of this list. Number 10, slow and steady wins the race tells you to slow down. Don't push so hard. Don't try so hard. Just take it easy, man, and you'll win. You'll be a winner. You'll be one of life's winners. We guarantee it. Slow and steady. It wins the race. It does not win the race. The people who are working their asses off, they're doing everything they possibly can to indoctrinate us into being, oblivious sheep. They're the ones who win the race. They work through all their holidays. They work through their weekends. These guys are working their asses off to dehumanize us, to capture us, and now to wipe out the human race and replace us with AI cybernetic robots in the very, very near future. And that's the only thing that they're doing with that phrase. It's they're trying to, sneak one in on us when we weren't looking. Slip one in. Number 9, nice guys finish last. Again, this phrase has been around forever. Nice guys finish last. Really? And, the only time and place where this is the healthy phrase that's applicable is in sex. If you're nice, you'll finish off the lady before you finish off yourself. But other than that, it's like, what they're trying to tell you with this one is a couple of different things. Number 1, nice guys, finish last. So they're trying to, influence you to be a not nice guy. In other words, cheat, lie, kill, murder, and you'll get ahead. You'll finish first. You'll be a winner. And it's telling us that. And this is a phrase that they've infused into our language all over the place. All the time. We're hearing it all the time. Nice guys finish last. Nice guys. Really? So bad guys finish first. That's what it's saying. There's something else that it's saying too about if you decide you want to be a nice person, that you're going to be underachieving for the rest of your life, and get used to it. Get used to underachieving. Get used to being, sort of like in the middle of the pack. Slow and steady wins the race. You're in the middle of the pack. You're not going to win nothing. So if you want to be a nice guy, get used to being a loser. Number 8. A leopard can't change its spots. Oh, this is a tie. A leopard can't change its spots / creatures of habit. Okay? They're trying to be apologists for, and trying to influence us to be inflexible. That we can't learn from lessons that we encounter throughout our lives when we're trying to, have our own independent thought, or be curious about things, or to grow and develop our lives in ways that are meaningful and productive and advance our, any aspect of our lives, as wealth or talent or discipline, any of that type of stuff. If you see that you're doing something like, you've been told, indoctrinated in your life, that all, and this is what's happening to a lot of people, is they're born into a situation, they got racist parents, have been racist all their lives, and they teach their kids to be racist and stuff like that. They teach their kids to be MAGA and hate on people because of what they are, instead of learning who they are and getting to know them for the elements within their personality that are within their control, instead of the color of their skin or the orientation of their sex or the religion that they belong to. But they say that a leopard can't change their spots. Well, that means that, once they caught you, once they have you indoctrinated, that you can't ever change. Because a leopard can't change its spots, buddy. So don't start going off, coloring outside the lines and start changing your minds and becoming, more responsible adults, and learning from your mistakes or any type of that. Creatures of habit. Leper can't change his spots. This is indoctrination. This is not like pretty little turns of phrases that people are using organically. These are things that they're forcing into our language to dement our intellects. So, and this is pure social engineering. Number 7, the meek shall inherit the earth. Really? The meek? It's the same thing with the nice guys finish last. All of a sudden, it's got just a different turn of phrase. The meek shall inherit the earth. Oh, okay, well, I'll just cower in the corner over here while all the assertive people wind up getting all the goodies and run every aspect of our lives and drive our intellects and our souls and our spirits into the ground by robbing us of our free will, by creating an illusory world that doesn't have any objective truth within it, so that we, God damn it, with this, the total absence of free will, and the meek, we're sitting on the corner, cowering in fear, not doing anything to disturb upset the apple cart, which is another phrase, by the way. We upset the apple cart, that just let everybody else get away with it, and then they tell them that they're going to inherit the earth anyway. That's all pure social engineering. And they're doing it throughout our language all the time. And it's not, just some of these old colloquial phrases. It's, all the different types of things that they get people to turn off to what they're calling woke ideology. The word woke itself has been turned into something evil. All it is really people trying to get to know themselves and their history, in a beneficial way, so that they can use that power and knowledge to self-reflect and make their own lives better and make their world around them better and more honest. But they take the word woke and they turn it into something evil. It's not something evil. It's people trying to better themselves, trying to be stronger within themselves and have self-identity, self-worth, all the things that are necessary for a mature, healthy human being to grow and to feel comfortable in their own skin, and to learn to love and to take prejudices and kick those to the curb and live life honestly, and embrace others for who they are instead of what they are for once in the goddamn history of life. Can we do that? And number 6, bull in a china shop. Okay, well, first of all, symbolically, they say that, you're upsetting, you're destroying China in the shop because you're being too aggressive, you're being too assertive, right? And you're messing things up. The status quo is the China shop. The bull is knowledge and intensity. And by the way, just to sort of try to provide a little reinforcement for all of this, the goddamn, what's the first chapter of the Bible? What's the first thing that they try to teach us in the Bible? The forbidden fruit. And what's the forbidden fruit represent? Where's the forbidden fruit come from? The tree of knowledge. These guys have been doing this to us from day one. They've been demonizing knowledge because the people are in control. And some of this, like the Bible is really super freaking intense, man. I don't want to put down your Bible. There's stuff in that I couldn't possibly comprehend. And I haven't really taken out the time to even try in many cases. But I can tell you, the first goddamn thing, this Bible, even if it was religiously imbued into people, the fact is that it came through the hand of man. And the hand of man, the only people who knew how to write and read, and back in those days, were the rich people. And the rich people are the ones who wrote this stuff down. And the first goddamn thing that's in the Bible is thou shalt hate knowledge. And knowledge is the source of all evil in the world. Knowledge is the source of all our suffering in the world. Wow, what a coinkydink. Just so happens to be that knowledge is the only thing that people can use to try to defend themselves against the machinations of the sociopaths who came up with the whole idea that knowledge is evil in the first place. That's why they made it evil in the very first thing that their Bible tries to teach us. It's all social engineering. Number 5, don't make waves. Well, of course don't make waves, right? Waves are bad for the rich people. They hate the waves. They don't want you to, again, upset the apple cart. So they don't want you going against the flow. See, I'm just saying all these phrases. They're all about don't go against the flow. Going against the flow is like a negative term. Don't make waves, a negative term. Don't upset the apple cart, a negative term. They polluted our language everywhere. And that's the level that they're working on. These people have been doing this for 6,000 years, since the beginning of civilization. They hand down. It's all the same people. They're interchangeable. They've got no difference between the aristocracy of today and the aristocracy that had Hebrew slaves in Egypt. They've been doing this for 6,000 years. They've gotten good at it. They have got us 9 ways to Sunday on this stuff. Number 4, opening up a can of worms. First of all, worms are gross, right? You don't want to let them out because they're gross and slimy and squiggly and gross. Did I mention that they were gross? So you open up a can of worms causing a stink. All the various different... Again, all of this is to try to suppress any curiosity that we would have, any independent thought, any thoughts of, providing opposition to the powers that be, the status quo that they're trying to keep, the indoctrination that they've been trying to infuse us with so we stay placid and just kind of hang out and wait to inherit the earth by being as meek as possible. Number 3, every cloud has a silver lining. Well, I don't see how that's even possible. Every cloud having a silver lining. What a cloud represents in this metaphor is that it's dark and foreboding and things like that. And it's maybe a symbolic interpretation of darkness in one's lives, or, the rain is negative and stuff. But, hey, there's and within this negativity, you don't know, there could be a silver lining in there. Every cloud has one. And if you're not seeing your silver lining inside of the negativity, then it must be a problem that you've got, because every cloud has a silver lining. Every negativity's got silver inside of it. Woohoo! Silver! Number 2, the watch kettle never boils. The watch kettle's going to boil, okay? So if you're trying to, it's trying to, influence you to be ignorant, to try and not pay attention to things, and things are just, they'll boil when they're ready to boil. So don't pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. The watch kettle never boils, bitch. And the number 1, it's a tie for first place. Oh my God, of the top 10 worst media invented distributed phrases designed to demotivate us. You know it's coming. Number 1, it's tied between ignorance is bliss and curiosity killed the cat. Woo-hoo, woo-hoo, woo. And you know what I'm talking about here. But with all the, diatribes and stuff, then highfalutin arguments that I've made about all these various different types of things that have been infused into our language, after all this time, you can figure it out for yourself. Ignorance is bliss. Well, why do you think they're telling us? It's like they're trying to tell us that being ignorant equates to being happy. So they're trying to influence us to that ignorance is a good thing. And what's the other thing about the only thing that can hurt you, things that you are ignorant of. Ignorance is not bliss. It's the exact opposite. Knowledge is bliss. Awareness is bliss. So you can see people when they're trying to attack you, when they're trying to hurt you, when they're trying to exploit you. And even though it might, especially in today's day and age where everything seems like it's laced with insurmountable futility, I would rather be aware of what the things that the troubles and the problems and the attacks that I'm being confronted by in my life than be ignorant of them, even if there was futility. At least I could be liberated from within the scope of my captivity. And I could be a free person, and my mind could be liberated, and I would have free choice again, at least to a certain extent. And free will, I mean, again, it's the only thing in our lives that's worth a damn. And then, obviously, curiosity to kill the cat is the same type of thing. It's just sort of like the opposite thing. It's warning you that you're too curious, you're going to get in trouble, you're going to get hurt, and then your pretty friends will get hurt too. Anyway, that's all the time. It was a very important. I feel so relieved that I've been able to go over these things with you. I don't know that anything will get through to anybody, or if, I'm doing everything I can. Again, I got no skin in the game. No skin in the game. I am, on my last legs, and I don't have anything to gain or lose by doing this. It's just something I'm compelled to do. And I've been working towards these realizations for 30-something freaking years as part of trying to instigate a revolution by empowering good and be making people too strong to dominate intellectually, spiritually, emotionally. Did I say intellectually? To dominate. And that's, the first steps of, really taking back our birthright as human beings. My outro here, my disclaimers. Everything I said here, just opinions, not of my own, but bestowed upon me by Almighty God. Or whatever, I don't know, whatever, ultimate power others in the universe. They're not, I feel like there's something out there. I don't know. I can't prove it. I can't see it. You figure that, after all these problems and troubles, that there would be more manifestation of something to give us, but that's what we're told to accept as the nature of faith. So whatever, I don't know, man. It's above my pay grade. But, people who want to dump their own emotional baggage on me or whatever, feel free to leave a comment. But I guarantee as much as you might hate me for some of the things that I say on this video or others, if it makes you feel any better, my life is freaking horrible, man. Pain, economic distress, being a washout of working for 30 years towards a goal that I never got to achieve and got my life destroyed over, for trying to do something decent in this world, trying to, build an institution to distribute the thoughts and expressiveness of anti-establishment types. And I laugh my way through these things, but it's not, it's just cosmetic. I guarantee you that when the cameras are off, I'm lucky I got whatever chemical something going through that allows me to still laugh. But the level of betrayals and pain and everything that I live through I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy or my worst enemy's dog. It's just, So why not click the like button? Subscribe to me. It's good. Subscribe. Hit the subscribe button so you can see when I post more of these things for me, you filthy animal. Let's try to get through this mess together, okay? And thanks for watching. Oh, by the way,